Former U.S. President Barack Obama and George Bush praised late Senator John McCain during his memorial service while making subtle jibes at President Trump. Obama said, and I quote, "It's politics that pretends to be brave and tough, but in fact is born in fear." John called on U.S. to be bigger than that and better than that, unquote. Bush, on the other hand, said that McCain detested the abuse of power and he could not abide bigots and swaggering despots. Meanwhile, Trump was absent from the memorial service as McCain's family had made it clear that he was not welcome. Supporters of far-right groups including Alternative for Germany marched through the German city of Chemnitz. On Saturday, the rally was organized to mourn the death of a German man who was stabbed last weekend by two migrants. The protesters condemned the so-called government inaction to face off rising migrant crime. There were over 1,200 policemen keeping a watch over the rally, which took to the streets just hours after some of the leftist groups held an anti-racism walk. Over 40 scholars from different think tanks and former officials of China and the United States gathered in Washington and New York to discuss ways to solve trade dispute between the two countries. The two-day dialogue, which ended on Thursday, was hosted by China's Renmin University and a host of U.S. think tanks. In their exchanges, participants from both the countries agreed that at this juncture, candid dialogues between think tanks are crucial for both nations. They said such dialogues will help in better communication and clearing up of misunderstandings. Thousands of Moldovans gathered in front of a government building on Saturday to demand reunification, with Romania participants of the rally held Moldovan, Romanian and European Union flags and chanted, "Basarabia is a Romanian land." This comes months after Romanian lawmakers in March expressed support for reunification with Moldova through a symbolic vote during a special session of the parliament. The Speaker of Moldova had then said that the country cherished its independence.
Fraților, mi s-a spus, nu vă jucați cu focul! Greșit! Noi am aprins!
Hundreds of pensioners lined up outside banks in Venezuela's capital city of Caracas to demand their monthly benefits. They arrived at the banks in the early hours of Saturday carrying umbrellas and small chairs in anticipation of a long queue. Several pensioners also blocked the main roads of the city demanding payments. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro had earlier announced that state pension would be increased and the 4.3 million Venezuelan pensioners would be receiving $30 per month starting the 1st of September. Pentagon announced that it will cancel $300 million in aid to Pakistan. The aid was previously suspended over Islamabad's unwillingness to take action against the country's terrorists. This latest development points to further worsening in the relationship between Washington and Islamabad. Last month, the White House had announced that it would curtail highly valued training and educational programs with the Pakistani military. Meanwhile, Japan has agreed to extend a 2.6 billion rupee assistance to Pakistan. The grant will be used for two projects. First is the installation of a weather surveillance radar in Multan city, which is expected to cost 3.3 billion rupees. Second is a project for human resources development scholarship. The notes to this effect were signed on Friday during the visit of Japanese State Minister for Foreign Affairs Kazuyuki Nakane to Pakistan. Pakistan has temporarily closed its consulate in the eastern Afghan city of Jalalabad. Pakistan cited the intervention by the provincial governor and the lack of security as the reason behind the move. In a letter to the Afghan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Pakistan's embassy in Kabul requested that the governor of Nangarhar province refrain from interfering in the consulate's functioning. It added that the consulate will remain closed until security arrangements are completed at the embassy's satisfaction. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan urged Kyrgyzstan to crack down on groups linked to Fethullah Gulen movement, which it blames for the 2016 coup attempt. Erdogan said that the US-based cleric supporters are dangerous and may attempt a coup in Kyrgyzstan too. A network of schools and colleges sponsored by Gulen and his supporters have existed for decades across Central Asia after 2016's coup attempt. Turkey had asked governments in the region to shut down Gulen's network. The then Kyrgyz president had refused to shut down these schools and chose instead to rename them. Dozens of people took to the streets in Myanmar's Yangon city on Saturday to demand the release of journalists who are on trial for allegedly collecting state secrets. The protesters were clad in black and marched with the banners, flags and balloons demanding the freedom of press. On Monday, Yangon court is expected to hand down the verdict in the case against 32-year-old Walon and 28-year-old Kwan So-o, both of whom have been charged under the Official Secrets Act. The leaders of South Africa, Angola, Lesotho and Tanzania arrived in Beijing on Saturday night ahead of the Forum on China-African Cooperation Beijing Summit. The summit will be held on the 3rd and 4th of September. It is themed China and Africa towards an even stronger community with a shared future through win-win cooperation. A Saudi-led coalition in Yemen said on Saturday that the air attack that killed a dozen of school children was unjustified. It also pledged to hold accountable anyone who contributed to the error. The Western-backed alliance said that the airstrike at the market in Sada had targeted missile launchers that were used to attack Saudi Arabia on the 8th of August. The alliance accused the Houthis of using children as human shields. The joint assessment team set up by the coalition said on Saturday that the strikes had been based on intelligence indicating the bus was carrying Houthi leaders. El Salvador's Nejapa celebrated its annual Fireball Festival on Friday. The participants were seen pelting fireballs at each other. Thousands gathered on the 31st of August every year to commemorate a volcanic eruption that forced all the residents to abandon the town years ago. Local churches have embraced the tradition, with urban legends saying that the hot lava was actually the local Christian saint Jerome fighting the devil. A fireball hurling is meant to remember the old destroyed town. The first traditional Chinese rare stone painting exhibition was opened to public on Thursday in the country's Guangxi Zhuang region. 236 pieces of rare stones with paintings like patterns were on display in Luzhu city. While some patterns resemble plum blossoms, the others resemble bamboo forest or birds. Australia's new Prime Minister Scott Morrison says his government will be supportive of a filmmaker convicted of spying in Cambodia. James Ricketson was sentenced to 6 years in prison and has been detained without bail since his arrest last year after flying a drone over a political rally. Hollywood actress Emma Stone walked the Venice International Film Festival red carpet for the premiere of Yorgos Lanthimos' new drama, The Favourite. The Hollywood actress was joined by co-stars Olivia Colman, Nicholas Hoult and Joe Alwyn. The film, which is showing in competition at this year's festival, tells the story of two cousins jostling to be the court favourite during the reign of Queen Anne.